celebrates your victories with you.
We want to wish all the local teams good luck in their athletic endeavors this season. Be safe on the court, field, rink, and in the gym. First Western Bank and Trust. You can bank on us. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You remember where this goes?
I don't know.
Are you sure it was a clicking and not a zzz, zzz?
I think your quash litter valve's stuck.
Do you even have insurance?
If we soak it, it should be good.
No matter how much you know or don't know about your vehicle, trust the experts at Tires Plus. Real answers from real mechanics.
Inspections are free to ensure your vehicle is always in peak condition.
Thinking service? Think Tires Plus.
The North Dakota Safety Council is dedicated to preventing injuries and saving lives by offering hundreds of safety courses. The NDSC helps workers return home safely every night and make sure schools are ready for any emergency. Our first aid training and defensive driving courses help save lives. We empower people through personal protection courses and operational risk assessments for businesses. We're a private, nonprofit organization committed to making North Dakota's homes, schools, communities, workplaces, and roads the safest in the nation. Learn more at ndsc.org.
At Schatz Crossroads, we make 8 gallons of homemade ranch dressing every day, so you can smother your dinner salad with it, dip those crispy golden French fries in it, and dunk your breaded chicken strips. You can even cover your... Wait, no. You can't put ranch on steak. Or can you? Schatz Crossroads. Don't forget the ranch.
This broadcast presentation on the PSP Network is brought to you by BNC National Bank, Planning Team Financial, Sport Clips, Tires Plus, Bismarck LASIK, First Western Bank and Trust, Jobbers Moving and Storage, The Medicine Shop, Hub International Insurance, The Chuppy Clinic, and Prairie Rose Family Dentists.
Time for Overtime with Scott Woodmansee. Let's go live to the stadium in Bismarck, North Dakota. It's time for Overtime with Scott Woodmansee.
Thank you, Nick Hallberg, and good morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Overtime with Scott Woodmansee. Happy New Year to you all as our first show back in the new year of 2022. Glad to have you aboard on Overtime as we've got another full show for you today. It's this morning coming up. Our first guest, we're going to go down to the Bismarck Event Center. We're going to talk with John Gums as he will be live. The Rotary Wrestling Tournament taking place down at the Bismarck Event Center. We'll talk with North Dakota's wrestling guru, John Gums. And then we'll talk with the head coach of the Flasher Bulldogs, Brian NIEUWSMA. His team certainly off to a hot start in the state of North Dakota as they currently are ranked 7th. In the latest Class B boys basketball poll. So certainly a good start for Brian NIEUWSMA and his basketball team. And then we're going to go into uncharted territories for myself. We'll get through it. We're going to do our West Region hockey preview. We'll talk with all the area coaches as they are at the midway point of their season. Their state tournament, the first tournament to get underway for the winter sports. We'll talk with LEIF Mattson from the Mandan Braves. Big win last night over the Williston Coyotes in town here. And then we'll talk with the new head coach of the Legacy Sabres, Mario LAMOUREAUX, as his team gets set to take on those Williston Coyotes this afternoon. And then we'll talk with Wes Carr from Bismarck High, Troy Olson from Century, and we'll round out the show. We'll talk with the head coach of the Bismarck Bobcats, Lane SEDEVIE, and find out. Been a while since we talked with Lane SEDEVIE, so we'll see what the Bobcats situation looks like. Again, we are live at the Stadium Lodge. Again, if you're looking for a place today if you're looking for a place to watch a Bison game and want to get a seat, you better hurry up as things starting to fill up here at the Stadium Lodge. And I guess you may ask yourself why. Well, coming up in roughly about 47 minutes. It will be the opening kick of the FCS National Championship game down in Frisco, Texas, as the NDSU Bison take on the Montana State Bobcats in a battle of Montana and North Dakota. And I'm sure lots of folks enjoying themselves already this morning, getting set for the opening kick there. Tried to effort a couple folks from down there, Craig Haley from Anthem Sports. But it was just the timing of this and the timing of the game was just too tight. But nonetheless, we'll try to keep you updated. But if you're tuning in on the PSP Network, glad to have you aboard. And certainly, if you're out and about today, stop in the Stadium Lodge. I know some NFL football coming up today, and make the Stadium Lodge your home this afternoon. Full-service menu. Drink specials going on as Danny and the staff will certainly take care of you up here today. Well, last night we had some high school basketball for you on the PSP Network on the boys' side. Well, if you were number one this week in the state of North Dakota in Class A basketball, wasn't a good week for you as Bismarck knocked off Century earlier in the week in an epic basketball game, 106-103. And then Bismarck High took their show on the road, and they went up and took on Dean Winchesky and the Minot High Magicians. And Minot High knocks off number one, 79-67. So a big win there for Minot High. So that really tightens things up near the upper half of the WDA. We'll take a look at those here. Other scores, Century all over St. Mary's, 74-52. Turtle Mountain gets a win against Watford City, 89-52. A game you heard last night on the PSP Network as well as the Minot High game. It was Legacy over Mandan, 85-67. And then a big win for head coach David Lundeen and the Williston Coyotes as they go on the road into a tough environment in Jamestown, and they knock off the Jamestown Blue Jays 63-61. So a big win there for the Williston Coyotes, and they'll do it again today as action coming up today at 3 o'clock. Williston in town to take on the Mandan Braves, and then Dickinson travels out to Jamestown to take on the Jamestown Blue Jays. We look at the current standings as we sit right now. Century on top at 7-1. Minot High and Bismarck both at 6-1. Minot in second with that win over Bismarck High. Legacy at 5-3, and then Dickinson 3-3. Turtle Mountain, St. Mary's at 3-4. Jamestown 2-4. Mandan 2-5, and Williston 2-6, and Watford City at 0-7. So things starting to get interesting in the West region as we take a look at the girls' side of things. Well, the number one ranked team and undefeated Century Patriots had no problem against St. Mary's last night. 72-31, Century wins that one. Watford City, they pick up their first win last night against Turtle Mountain, 54-40. And then a game you heard on the PSP Network, it was Legacy defeating Mandan 68-56. Got games today, as we said, just like the boys' side. Dickinson will be at Jamestown. And then the Bismarck High girls, in what will prove to be a big game, travel up to take on Minot. So the boys did it last night. We'll see if the girls can hold fort and knock off Bismarck High. As Bismarck High 4-1, Minot undefeated at 5-0, Century at 7-0. Those are your top three. Legacy in there at 5-2, followed by Mandan 3-4, Jamestown 2-3, and then Turtle Mountain 2-4, followed by Dickinson, Watford, and St. Mary's. Those are a look at on your girls basketball side of things. And then on the hockey front, in games last night, as we said, Mandan knocked off Williston 3-2, and Jamestown over Botno Rugby 6-0. Games coming up today, and our colleague Nick Hallberg, he'll have the call for you on the PSP Network as Minot High has traveled down to take on Fargo Davies. That'll be a 3:15. They'll drop the puck there. Botno Rugby in town to take on the Mandan Braves. Williston and Legacy will go at it at the VFW, and Jamestown will take on Dickinson. If you look at the current West Region hockey standings, well, Minot High is 6-0-2, so they lead the WDA, followed by Jamestown 6-2-1. Bismarck High in there at 5-2-0. Then Mandan with winning their last two. The Mandan Braves, and then Legacy at 3-4, Botno Rugby 3-3, Williston 2-4, Dickinson 1-3, 1-3-2-1, and Century 1-2-0-2. In a long time since you've seen Century They're kind of on a slide right now as they've lost their last 4, Minot High winning their last 4. And we'll get a chance to talk with all 4 of those area coaches here this morning and find out a little bit more about that. We mentioned early in the broadcast we're going to visit with John Gums as John is down at the Rotary Wrestling Tournament. Day 1 is in the books. And right now the team results look like this. Rapid City Stevens leading the way with 182.5 points, followed by Sidney, Montana with 154. Bismarck High in at third at 147. Watertown, South Dakota in at 143. Minot at 131. Century 114. And followed by St. Mary's with 99. And a tie for 13th is Legacy with 73. And Mandan sits in 23rd place with 31 points. And from the local area, 6 wrestlers advanced to the Rotary Championships. 6 of those, as the 28 boys championship finals have been decided, 6 of those, Brock Feddick from Bismarck at 182. Ben Nagel from Bismarck at 195. Isaiah Hoos, how about this stud? Back on the mat after that horrific football injury that he suffered early in the football season. He's in the finals at 220. Caden Dakota for Century in at 132. Isaac Felkley in at 145, and Nick Windsor from St. Mary's in at 220. But we'll find out more about that coming up with John Gums. And we did mention also shifting back to the basketball front side of things. We talked about that most recent Class B boys basketball poll. Well, it looks like this. Four Winds Minnewacan leading the way at 3-0. Kindred in at 4-1. Hillsborough Central Valley in third at 3-1. North Border at 4-0. Enderlin 4-2. Dunseith 5-0. Flash, as we said, 7-0. Ellendale 3-0. Bowman County also making some noise, 4-0. Beulah 2-2, but they suffered a tough loss this week to one of their rivals, Hazen. So that drops them to 2-3. Other teams receiving votes: Powers Lake, Central Cass, Grafton, Lemoore, Litchfield, Marion, and Harvey Wells County. That is a look at the boys' side of thing. On the girls' front, well, Kindred, no surprise there, in at 9-0 as their number one, followed by Four Winds Minnewacan at 8-0. Grafton in third, Central Cass in fourth, Rugby in fifth at 8-0. So the Rugby Panthers sporting a pretty good girls basketball team. Linton HMB, well, those ladies just carrying things over from the volleyball season into the basketball season. They're in 6, Shiloh in 7, followed by Thompson. The Garrison Troopers breaking the poll in at 9, and Edgeley Culm Montpelier in at 9-0 as they were not ranked last week, as all those other teams were ranked. So Edgeley Culm Montpelier sneaking into the poll. Langdon area, Edmore Munich, Bowman County, and Northern Cass all receiving votes on the Class B girls side of things. So things in full gear after that holiday break, as again, I know for us here on the PSP network, as we've got a lot coming up for you. As today, as we mentioned, you will be able to hear on the PSP network Davies and Minot. That will be, as we said, 3:15. Also, Bismarck High, girls and Minot, you'll be able to hear that. And then coming up on Tuesday, you'll have Turtle Mountain at Minot, and then that'll be on Tuesday. And then we'll be down in Standing Rock, Todd Darmries and Cole Higlin, as they'll have New Salem Elmont at Standing Rock. And then hockey, Minot High travels over to Williston. And then coming up next week, we'll also have we got a couple Class B games on the schedule. As next Friday, Beulah is in town to take on Shiloh Christian. We'll have the coverage of that. And on Thursday, Century will be over to take on Legacy for a 2-pack. Todd and Chuck will have the call for you on that one. And wrestling, Bismarck High is up in Minot on Thursday. So another full week for you right here on the PSP Network. Be sure to follow us on all social media platforms, as I can tell you that we are making some headway in what our postseason is going to look like. So stay tuned to the PSP Network to find out more about that. As once everything is finalized, we'll be able to tell you what we will be covering as far as basketball, hockey, and all things considered for our postseason action coming up on the PSP Network. So lots of things, lots of exciting things happening. And, again, glad to have you back on board with me this morning on Overtime with Scott Woodmansee. We're going to take our first time out. We come back. We'll talk with the editor of the Dakota Grappler and Bismarck's wrestling guru, John Gums, back with more on Overtime with Scott Woodmansee after this timeout.
This broadcast presentation on the PSP Network is brought to you by BNC National Bank, Planning Team Financial, Sport Clips, Tires Plus, Bismarck LASIK, First Western Bank and Trust, Jobbers Moving and Storage, The Medicine Shop, Hub International Insurance, The Chuppy Clinic, and Prairie Rose Family Dentists.
The best part about working at BNC National Bank is developing relationships.
I love working with people.
We've been here for over 25 years.
We've grown just like our communities we're in.
But we still have that personal connection with our customers.
And that's why we can find the best solutions for them.
It feels great seeing projects around the community and knowing we're a small part of making that happen.
We're helping people buy their first homes.
Plan for the future.
From startups to big business.
We're part of the community.
And we're proud of it.
Yours truly, BNC.
If your eyes could talk, they'd tell you life is better with LASIK. No more reaching for your glasses. No more dry eye from overwearing your contact lenses. Right now, Bismarck LASIK is offering free consultations for LASIK procedures. Break free from the daily hassles and expenses of glasses and contacts. Life is clearly better. Book your free consultation today with Bismarck LASIK and see the difference. Call 222-2020 or schedule online at bismarcklasik.com.
Whether you're looking for a full-service financial plan or planning for farm or business succession, Planning Team Financial Advisors is here to help you work toward achieving your financial goals. With locations in Bismarck, Garrison, and Center, our full-service team of professionals are dedicated to helping you work towards achieving your financial goals. Visit us online, planningteam.com. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member of FINRA and SIPC. Investment advice offered through GWM Advisors, LLC, doing business as Goss Advisors, a registered investment advisor. GWM Advisors, LLC, and Planning Team Financial Advisors are separate entities from LPL Financial.
Memories never fade, especially from a high school rivalry game. Hi, I'm Brock Shook with First Western Bank and Trust. Throughout school sports history, the familiar names and faces may change, but legacies live on, achievements remembered.
As your community bank, First Western Bank and Trust celebrates your victories with you.
We want to wish all the local teams good luck in their athletic endeavors this season. Be safe on the court, field, rink, and in the gym. First Western Bank and Trust. You can bank on us. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You remember where this goes?
I don't know.
Are you sure it was a clicking and not a zoom, zoom?
I think your quash litter valve's stuck.
Do you even have insurance?
If we soak it, it should be good.
No matter how much you know or don't know about your vehicle, trust the experts at Tires Plus. Real answers from real mechanics.
Inspections are free to ensure your vehicle is always in peak condition.
Thinking service? Think Tires Plus.
The North Dakota
Let's go back to the stadium and overtime with Scott Woodmansee.
Welcome back to the Stadium Lodge. Scott Woodmansee with you. Glad to have you aboard on Overtime with Scott Woodmansee as we are live from the Stadium Lodge, starting to fill up as folks getting ready for the FCS National Championship game. So if you're looking for a place to watch that, make the Stadium Lodge your home here this afternoon, as Danny and the staff will certainly take care of you. Well, and on the top of that, too, if you also want to stay warm, make a trip down to the Bismarck Event Center, where one of the prestige wrestling events is taking place. And joining me on the phone right now is the editor of the Dakota Grappler and North Dakota's very own wrestling guru, John Gums. Gumby, good morning. How are you, my friend?
Hey, pretty good, Woody. Doing real good. Wrestling's going on, so can't be much happier.
Well, no question about it, Johnny, and certainly an interesting day down at the Bismarck Event Center. And, boy, I tell you what, it appears that some of these out-of-state teams have come in here and kind of flexed their muscle a little bit with the locals after day one. Rapid City Stevens, Sydney, the top two teams leading after day number one.
Well, I tell you what, they are solid. You know, they're the number one ranked teams in both South Dakota and Montana, so they're going to bring their best. And a lot of these teams look at the Rotary as basically a stepping stone to their own state championships. They know that they place here, that they're looking good, and they're in the right place at this time of the season.
Well, yeah, and obviously Sydney, Montana, you know, certainly if anybody follows wrestling at all, John, you know, that's one team they know that as far as state champions are concerned, you know, you might as well stack them in the same category as the Bismarck Demons because they've certainly owned that in the state of Montana.
Well, I tell you what, you know, the head coach, he's been along for a long time, and he has his guys prepared. Century dueled them earlier in the season and pretty much mopped up on Century, who's actually really coming around right now. You know, they're sitting in sixth place in this tournament and have actually more placers in this thing than Bismarck High, which you're not going to see very often.
Yeah,
and
go ahead, Johnny.
You know, it's interesting because, you know, Bismarck High's got a few injuries going on. In fact, Renner is out right now with a little knee injury, and a couple of their guys that are ranked one in the state are very high. And then plus a little sickness going in. So they actually only have 4 placers sitting in third place. So they're not going to gain a lot of points. They have three of their guys that are left are in the finals. So, you know, sitting in third is going to be very difficult for them to stay in, as other teams are going to be gathering points in these placement rounds today.
Yeah, it should be an exciting day. And, Johnny, I want to stay on those same lines with Sydney, Montana, and had a chance to run into some folks from Williston. And they've got one of Sydney's own up there, and Gresh Jones, taking the head job at Williston. And certainly in talking to those folks last night, boy, they're really excited in the job that he's done so far, and they're excited to have him as their head coach.
Well, Gresh, I talked to him earlier this year, and he's excited. He's got some kids out. They're working hard, and I tell you what, they've got a few already upsets in in the duels scene, and so they're coming on. Williston is another team. You know, we don't consider them local, but but they have some talent. You know, and they're very dangerous. They're becoming a pinning team because Sydney has always been a team that's been a finesse and just, you know, put it to you, put them on the mat and
Sure.
pin them. And Williston's turning that same way where they're aggressive. They're trying the big moves and putting people on their backs, and that's always scary come placing time in state.
Yeah, we're talking with John Gums, the editor of the Dakota Grappler. And Johnny, the one thing I want to touch on is just an unbelievable story is Isaiah Hoos from Bismarck High. I mean, this young man had a horrific football injury during the football season, and I think at the time most folks said, no, there's no way that he's going to be able to come back and get back on the wrestling mat. Well, you know, and he's the kind of young man that you don't tell that to, and you don't say that he can't do anything. And lo and behold, Johnny, we're sitting on January 8th, and this young man has come back, and he's finding himself in the finals of the Rotary Wrestling Tournament. I mean, what can you tell him about the process that you maybe know, John, that it took him to get back to this stage so quick?
Well, what's interesting is he is, number one, a very hard worker. I mean, he's from the first day of his injury, he wasn't going to just lay around and just wait for things to happen. He was lifting weights, upper body, and doing what he could every day to see if he could move it. They put him on basically some crutches, and he basically got off much quicker than they expected. And it comes from being just a good kid. He's an awesome young man who's got a bright future in whatever he does because he's got a work ethic. You know, I press that on all wrestlers. That guess what? It's about putting the time in.
Yep.
And he wasn't afraid to do that. He had the goal right when he had the injury that he's going to find a way to come back the second half of the season. But yet he made it earlier than that. He actually challenged himself to get ready, and he got ready right before one of the biggest tournaments in North Dakota, the Rumble of the Red. He went down there and challenged himself with some of the best wrestlers from Minnesota and only took one loss. He's sitting right now at about a 14-1 record. And gosh, he is the number one kid in the state at base 220 in North Dakota, even with one leg basically, or a leg and a half.
Yeah, well, certainly an unbelievable story. And John, while we're on Bismarck High, as they've got 3 other guys in the finals today. Brock Fettig at 182 and Ben Nagel at 195. So really no surprise there, John. And then we talked about DAKOTA from Century, Felkley, and Windsor from St. Mary's. And, John, as you look at those 6 wrestlers that are going to be wrestling for a Rotary Championship, I mean, what's the outlook? And maybe start with Fettig at 182.
Well, I will go right now as, this is a big statement, but I think Brock Fettig is the best wrestler North Dakota has right now. He's sitting with over 200-plus takedowns. He's probably got 220-plus takedowns on the season, trying for the state record. And he's doing that against some of the best competition. Bismarck does not shy away. They dueled Pierre the other night, and they took their first loss in about 4 years. They had about, I would say, 70, 80 duel wins in a row. And Pierre came up, and actually Bismarck, being sick, still took on the duel and did their best, but lost to Pierre, who's one of the top teams in South Dakota. And he went out, and he just dominated. Brock Fettig, there's nobody in the state of North Dakota that will touch him here on out throughout the season.
Wow.
But I'm hoping that he signs somewhere. NDSU did offer him, but he wants to go even bigger. South Dakota, SDSU is going to be looking at him, Minnesota, and you're going to see his name somewhere out there. He has a lot of talent. And then Ben Nagel, he's one of my favorites from Bismarck High. He's a 3-time state placer, and this is his first year on varsity. He lost to Fettig in the finals last year. That's one of the gifts that North Dakota Wrestling gives, that they allow for 3 extra wrestlers to possibly qualify for state. And he's qualified as an extra every year and is placed every year. So he is a talent waiting for his time on the Bismarck High team to fit in, because they've been so tough.
Yep.
And he's also just solid. You have those guys around you, Hoos and Fettig, to wrestle every day. You're not going to be a slouch.
Johnny, is it fair to say is if you're wrestling those guys every day, it's your own problem if you don't get better?
Yeah, that's exactly right. No, they say steel sharpens steel. It's so true. And those guys, imagine the room some days when the guys are mad and want to go. It's going to be physical. It's going to be tough, and you got to withstand that. And I'm impressed also what St. Mary's does. The Melmers do a great job at St. Mary's. Getting 2 guys in the finals is a big step. They've got a really nice team. They took some dual losses early on, but they're a really nice team. Felkley, he's one of those guys that has an opportunity for them to be a state champion. He actually started out in Harvey. He's one of those guys that placed in Class B and has been at St. Mary's the last 3 years. He's been a state placer, but to be a state champ is the next step for him. He's looking for it. Nick Windsor, big kid who just has improved so much. He's very solid on his feet. He's got very what I call heavy hands, so he can snap people down. And he's just getting tougher and tougher every time I see him, so I'm impressed. For DAKOTA, for Bismarck Century, now he's a leech. He's probably one of the toughest wrestlers to shake. Being a Century person myself, I get to see him wrestle a lot, and he's just tough. He faces the toughest competition. He's not afraid to bump up. He works hard, and you're going to see good things out of him. He's just a junior. Everybody else on the finals that we talked about are seniors. So he's our junior local talent that's going to be around for a long time.
And Johnny, we got a few minutes left with you, John. When you take a look at this at the opening day, I mean, and you look at the 6 guys that are in the finals, I mean, any surprises maybe that happened in day 1 that maybe you expect locally, a kid that was going to get to the finals?
Well, I did kind of expect a couple. Bismarck High's got a really tough 113-pounder, just Ben DeForest. And Ben DeForest, he puts it in all the time hard, but he got caught to a kid that's one of the best kids. He's ranked number 1 in South Dakota from Watertown, and he was undefeated, and it was a great match for the beginning of the period, but then he's just got it taken to, so it really kind of surprised me. And he'll step up, he'll be fine, but again, it's that out-of-state talent that comes up here and wants the competition, and guess what? Brought it to it. The kid from Watertown, this Johannesson, he's in the mix of being a state champ down there, so there's no looking down at the match that he actually lost there. Some other things, just surprise overall, Bismarck High having some sickness, but a lot of guys got in the blood round yesterday and failed getting into the placing round. So I guarantee Bismarck High is not happy with their results from about 8 of their wrestlers, which they expected to place, but all lost. So they scored team points, which is always big, but that's not enough, because when you come to the state wrestling tournament, that blood round, which we call right before you get into placing, is where you make your money. And that was really big. Other surprises, not a lot. Just that I was surprised that Pierre didn't stick around. They were scheduled to be in the Rotary tournament, but they had basically too many events scheduled, and they had to kind of choose if they were going to do this or start sitting some wrestlers later in the season.
Interesting. Well, and Johnny, real quick before we let you go, what can you tell us? I know they all wrestle this all together, but from the Class B side, in your mind, who's the powerhouse in the Class B side of things this year?
Oh, I tell you what, there's about 3 really, really solid teams, but I'm going to go local with this. I'm saying right now New Salem is our team to be beat. And that's really good. They did lose one of their wrestlers to a shoulder injury, who's probably been a top 3 wrestler, but they had a little cushion and have actually some pretty good depth. You know, a small town to have extra guys is hard to do. But they're probably right now a 20 to 30 point favorite, so they can't lose anybody else to sickness. But you take the Lisbons, who always get better, you know, that type of thing. Lisbon, then it starts getting spread out from that. South Border and Lisbon are the next 2 best teams.
Wow!
And they're in the same region. So.
And Johnny, by the way, remember where Isaiah Hoos came from?
Oh, yes.
Now, I'm guessing if you reverse the roles and you put him out in New Salem on that wrestling team today, they're probably your Class B favorite to win it.
Again, that doesn't hurt when he's going to add 30 points to your state championship. Yeah.
No question. Well, Johnny, I know you're going to be able to help us out a little bit here on the PSP Network. Hey, looking forward to having you. I know you and Chuck got something lined up, and certainly looking forward to having you, bring a little wrestling across the state of North Dakota on the PSP Network.
Well, I tell you, over the next 2 years, we're going to make that grow too. I know PSP's been a great addition for sports in the state, because guess what? People need these kids to be basically, how could you say, given their right and their publicity out in that scene. So, you guys are doing a great job. I even watch a few basketball games, which is kind of a
oh boy! Hey, did you actually say the words basketball, Johnny?
Well, my wife loves basketball. I let her have the remote.
Hey, Johnny. Hey, keep up the great work, my friend. I know you got a busy day today, but keep doing a great job with that Dakota Grappler, and we'll talk to you again soon. Have a good rest of the day, all right?
Well, thank you so much, and go Bison.
All right, Johnny. Johnny Gums, the editor of the Dakota Grappler and North Dakota's wrestling guru, live from the Bismarck Event Center. There's a look inside the Rotary tournament taking place down at the Bismarck Event Center. We'll take another time out here. We'll switch gears, and we will do that when we come back. We'll talk with the head coach of the Flasher Bulldogs, Brian NIEUWSMA, back with more on Overtime with Scott Woodmansee after this timeout.
This broadcast presentation on the PSP Network is brought to you by BNC National Bank, Planning Team Financial, Sport Clips, Tires Plus, Bismarck LASIK, First Western Bank and Trust, Jobbers Moving and Storage, The Medicine Shop, Hub International Insurance, The Chuppy Clinic, and Prairie Rose Family Dentists.
The best part about working at BNC National Bank is developing relationships.
I love working with people.
We've been here for over 25 years.
We've grown just like our communities we're in.
But we still have that personal connection with our customers.
And that's why we can find the best solutions for them.
It feels great seeing projects around the community and knowing we're a small part of making that happen.
We're helping people buy their first homes.
Plan for the future.
From startups to big business.
We're part of the community.
And we're proud of it.
Yours truly, BNC.
If your eyes could talk, they'd tell you life is better with LASIK. No more reaching for your glasses. No more dry eye from overwearing your contact lenses. Right now, Bismarck LASIK is offering free consultations for LASIK procedures. Break free from the daily hassles and expenses of glasses and contacts. Life is clearly better. Book your free consultation today with Bismarck LASIK and see the difference. Call 222-2020 or schedule online at bismarcklasik.com.
Whether you're looking for a full-service financial plan or planning for farm or business succession, Planning Team Financial Advisors is here to help you work toward achieving your financial goals. With locations in Bismarck, Garrison, and Center, our full-service team of professionals are dedicated to helping you work towards achieving your financial goals. Visit us online, planningteam.com. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member of FINRA and SIPC. Investment advice offered through GWM Advisors, LLC, doing business as Goss Advisors, a registered investment advisor. GWM Advisors, LLC, and Planning Team Financial Advisors are separate entities from LPL Financial.
Memories never fade, especially from a high school rivalry game. Hi, I'm Brock Shook with First Western Bank and Trust. Throughout school sports history, the familiar names and faces may change, but legacies live on, achievements remembered.
As your community bank, First Western Bank and Trust celebrates your victories with you.
We want to wish all the local teams good luck in their athletic endeavors this season. Be safe on the court, field, rink, and in the gym. First Western Bank and Trust. You can bank on us. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You remember where this goes?
I don't know.
Are you sure it was a clicking and not a zzz, zzz?
I think your quash litter valve's stuck.
Do you even have insurance?
If we soak it, it should be good.
No matter how much you know or don't know about your vehicle, trust the experts at Tires Plus. Real answers from real mechanics.
Inspections are free to ensure your vehicle is always in peak condition.
Thinking service? Think Tires Plus.
The North Dakota Safety Council is dedicated to preventing injuries and saving lives by offering hundreds of safety courses. The NDSC helps workers return home safely every night and make sure schools are ready for any emergency. Our first aid training and defensive driving courses help save lives. We empower people through personal protection courses and operational risk assessments for businesses. We're a private, nonprofit organization committed to making North Dakota's homes, schools, communities, workplaces, and roads the safest in the nation. Learn more at ndsc.org.
Let's go back to the stadium and overtime with Scott Woodmansee.
Welcome back to the Stadium Lodge. Scott Woodmansee with you overtime. Glad to have you aboard on the PSP Network as we are live from the Stadium Lodge. Hey, if you're looking for a place to watch a football game and you're not here yet, well, you better hurry up because I see 2 open tables right now as folks file it in, getting ready for the FCS National Championship game coming up. Roughly about 25 minutes from now, the opening kick in Montana State and NDSU, as Danny and the staff will certainly take care of you up here today. While we switch gears from the wrestling mat, we go to the hardwood, and joining me right now is the head coach of the number 7 ranked team in the state of North Dakota, the Flasher Bulldogs, Brian NIEUWSMA. Brian, good morning, sir. How are you this morning?
Hey, good morning, Woody. Thanks for having us on. Doing good.
Hey, you bet. Well, Brian, I guess first and foremost, we had a chance to see you guys in that Mandan Holiday Tournament. But, I know we turned the calendar into the new season, but let's go back, Brian, when you got this thing underway and got things going and the season that you had last year and know what you had back. I mean, what was the mentality of these kids when you started? I mean, did you know you're going to have the team that you've got to this point of the season?
We knew we had some talent coming back. When you only have 2 seniors. That doesn't seem like you're set up for success. But when one's an all-stater and another one's an all-district player, and the way they work, we knew we had a chance to get after it and play some good ball.
Yeah, and I think you've done that. And coming out, number 12 in the hoopster, and Brian, if you're like any West Region coach around here, and I know that you probably are, I mean, that doesn't mean anything. I mean, that's just a number that's what us media guys do. We have the capability to do that, and I'm sure that's something that the kids and even being ranked number 7 in the state. That's not anything that you really try to that these kids get in their heads or that these kids look at.
No, it's something that when you're competing, you're just trying to win each day. You have to have earmuffs and blinders on and just focus on task at hand. Focus on getting better, little things. We're pleased with how we're competing, but we're not satisfied. And that's one thing that's a credit to how hard the guys work, their competitive spirit.
And Brian, as you guys right now, where you're at in this season, and like I said, we had a chance to see you guys over in Mandan, and the guy we're talking about in the All-Stater in Jace Freeze, and I don't remember, Brian, what the comment was, but I think we talked to him after one of the games, and he mentioned something about, he knows he can score the basketball. He knows he can rebound the basketball, but, I mean, this guy's looking to get triple doubles. He wants to add into the assist column. I mean, that to me is not only is he an all-stater, but you got a pretty unselfish basketball player there in Jace Freeze.
When your best players are totally bought in like that and they're team first and are going to do whatever it takes, you got a shot. You mentioned triple-double. He did have one in the Mandan Holiday Tournament against the Bismarck sophomores, and he was 1 assist away against the Mandan sophomores, triple-double. So that just shows of his versatility, and he's a total package, on the court and off the court. Just a great kid and leader. I've got young sons at home, and they're looking up to him, so just a great role model.
Well, and I think and when you do that too, Brian, you bring back a guy like him and an all-stater, but it's what you have around him, and I was impressed, Brian, with your team in that Mandan Holiday Tournament, the guys around you, his brother Javin Freeze, and these other guys that know their role, and I think it's a situation where Jace probably. And you can answer this better. Jace probably knows in his mind that he doesn't have to go out and get you 20, 25 every night. You've got some other kids there that can step up if they need to and carry the load for you.
Yeah, that's a huge benefit for us as a team where they can't just isolate on him. You got to be multiple. And so if teams are really trying to take away Jace, he knows that the other guys have the confidence to get it done, and he's looking for them to find them. And one thing we talk a lot about is you can't stand and ball watch. So you got to be moving, you got to be active because Jace will find you.
Yeah, and then you add in there, you got Braxton Hotzenbuehler in there at 6'3", and Joey Richter at 6'4". He goes crazy in that opening round game, and I mean, just all in all, I mean, Brian, it's just it's a team I see built that certainly has the opportunity to make that run at that Region 5 championship coming up in the end of February.
We're looking forward to the opportunity to play in the regional tournament. This is the first year that we've gone to the Super Region. We got a tough slate of region games coming up, so every game has more meaning since we don't have the district tournament. So we're just trying to get better each and every day. The guys are coming to the gym with a great work ethic, trying to focus on those little things. Those are the things that separate good to great. And, when the seniors, Jace and Braxton, are pushing our underclassmen, we're fairly young.
Yeah,
so we have 2 seniors and 2 juniors. You mentioned Joey Richter, our other junior, Carter Bonagowski, and then we have 4 sophomores and 8 freshmen. So we're hoping that they take the lead of the upperclassmen. I'd be remiss not to mention great coaches that I work with. We got Neil Gabrielson and old player of ours that you covered in the past, Peyton Gabrielson. So it's fun. And the guys, they work hard, but they have fun with it as well, and that's what it's about.
Well, and then I see you guys kind of, down in Flasher. I mean, it's just like you guys build coaches as you got to get, the young Gabrielson on the staff now, and then I see Krenz is doing a little bit of work up at St. Mary's. So, I mean, between you and the head football coach down there, I mean, is Flasher becoming a coaching hotbed, or what is it?
Well, I don't know about that, but we're certainly proud of those guys. And, it just shows that they're passion for athletics, but it's not just athletics, it's kids. When we look at the court or the football field, Coach Krenz always says it's kind of the extension of the classroom where you're learning and growing and you're competing. So really proud of Taylor Krenz, who helps out with St. Mary's football and basketball, and young Gabrielson, Peyton helping us in basketball.
Hey, Brian, we got a few minutes left with you, and then before we let you go, but I want to go back to we talking about this being the first year for Region 5 going into that Super Region. And, I mean, you've been around you've been around the Class B game for a number of years and coached down there for a number of years. And your thoughts on that? I mean, in my mind, I'm surprised it took as long as it did. With what we see out in the East and Region 1 and Region 2, and then, of course, out here in the West, and you got your Region 7. I mean, your thoughts on that? I mean, do you like that? Do you like that format a little bit better? I mean, is it a long time in the making? Give me your thoughts on that as far as the Super Region 5 that's going to be in its first year this year.
You can go either way with that. You can have a team that's maybe young and doesn't perform that well during the season, and then they kind of hit their stride, and the district tournament gives them opportunity to be successful. Yep. Or if you look at it with the Super Region, you got to come ready every night. I reached out to some coaches from Region 7, and they said it's like a district tournament every game. And so far, We've played in 3 games, and that's the feeling that we've had doing it. And it adds some emphasis. We, in Flasher, it's hard to get some teams maybe to come down here, some of the big name teams, but we kind of beefed up our schedule this year. And so with the added emphasis of the Region 5 contest and some of those other teams that we're going to be playing, we're looking forward to having that tournament mindset and mentality when we have our regular season contests.
Yeah, and you talk about beefing up your schedule, and obviously a team that stands in your way. I mean, is Shiloh Christian. I mean, ranked in the recent poll as well, but I mean, they're kind of the proverbial bully, let's just say, out here in Region 5, and a team that made numerous trips, and I'm guessing that's one thing your kids understand and have bought in and know that, hey, to be the best, we got to beat the best, and they're one of the teams that they got to beat. But I'm guessing that game has been circled on the calendar for a long time when you two go toe to toe.
When you talk Region 5, everything runs through Bismarck and Shiloh. So they've been to state numerous times. Our kids have goals in front of them, but they're just bringing that juice to practice and energy, trying to get better and trying to improve themselves individually and collectively, and hopefully taking it day by day so we get an opportunity to compete in the tournament.
Yeah, well, certainly and enjoyed watching your team. We'll get a chance. I know, hopefully we're going to have the ability to cover that Region 5 tournament. Certainly looking forward to that. Brian, hey, man, appreciate the time this morning. And enjoy the rest of the day. Enjoy the football game, and best luck the rest of the way out. And we'll see you in the gym down the road soon. All right, man?
Hey, sounds great. Thanks again for the tremendous coverage. The Mandan Holiday Tourney. Looking forward to having you guys down here for a contest. I got numerous comments of people saying how awesome that was. So thank you.
Absolutely, you bet, Brian. Take care, my friend. Hey, give Coach Krenz a shout out for me, will you, buddy? Say hi to him for me.
Will do.
All right, take care. Brian NIEUWSMA, the head basketball coach of the Flasher Bulldogs, his team certainly on a roll to start the basketball season and rolling into 2022. We'll take another timeout on Overtime with Scott Woodmansee. We come back, well, we'll dive into the West Region Hockey preview as we'll talk with the head coach of the Mandan Braves, LEIF MATTSON. Back with more on Overtime with Scott Woodmansee after this timeout.
This broadcast presentation on the PSP Network is brought to you by BNC National Bank, Planning Team Financial, Sport Clips, Tires Plus, Bismarck LASIK, First Western Bank and Trust, Jobbers Moving and Storage, The Medicine Shop, Hub International Insurance, The Chuppy Clinic, and Prairie Rose Family Dentists.
The best part about working at BNC National Bank is developing relationships.
I love working with people.
We've been here for over 25 years.
We've grown just like our communities we're in.
But we still have that personal connection with our customers.
And that's why we can find the best solutions for them.
It feels great seeing projects around the community and knowing we're a small part of making that happen.
We're helping people buy their first homes.
Plan for the future.
From startups to big business.
We're part of the community.
And we're proud of it.
Yours truly, BNC.
If your eyes could talk, they'd tell you life is better with LASIK. No more reaching for your glasses. No more dry eye from overwearing your contact lenses. Right now, Bismarck LASIK is offering free consultations for LASIK procedures. Break free from the daily hassles and expenses of glasses and contacts. Life is clearly better. Book your free consultation today with Bismarck LASIK and see the difference. Call 222-2020 or schedule online at bismarcklasik.com.
Whether you're looking for a full-service financial plan or planning for farm or business succession, Planning Team Financial Advisors is here to help you work toward achieving your financial goals. With locations in Bismarck, Garrison, and Center, our full-service team of professionals are dedicated to helping you work towards achieving your financial goals. Visit us online, planningteam.com. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member of FINRA and SIPC. Investment advice offered through GWM Advisors, LLC, doing business as Goss Advisors, a registered investment advisor. GWM Advisors, LLC, and Planning Team Financial Advisors are separate entities from LPL Financial.
Memories never fade, especially from a high school rivalry game. Hi, I'm Brock Shook with First Western Bank and Trust. Throughout school sports history, the familiar names and faces may change, but legacies live on, achievements remembered.
As your community bank, First Western Bank and Trust celebrates your victories with you.
We want to wish all the local teams good luck in their athletic endeavors this season. Be safe on the court, field, rink, and in the gym. First Western Bank and Trust. You can bank on us. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You remember where this goes?
I don't know.
Are you sure it was a clicking and not a zzz, zzz?
I think your quash litter valve's stuck.
Do you even have insurance?
If we soak it, it should be good.
No matter how much you know or don't know about your vehicle, trust the experts at Tires Plus. Real answers from real mechanics.
Inspections are free to ensure your vehicle is always in peak condition.
Thinking service? Think Tires Plus.
The North Dakota Safety Council is dedicated to preventing injuries and saving lives by offering hundreds of safety courses. The NDSC helps workers return home safely every night and make sure schools are ready for any emergency. Our first aid training and defensive driving courses help save lives. We empower people through personal protection courses and operational risk assessments for businesses. We're a private, nonprofit organization committed to making North Dakota's homes, schools, communities, workplaces, and roads the safest in the nation. Learn more at ndsc.org.
Let's go back to the stadium and overtime with Scott Woodmansee.
Welcome back to the Stadium Lodge. Scott Woodmansee with you. Glad to have you aboard on the PSP Network. Overtime with Scott Woodmansee, first show of 2022. And again, we are live from the Stadium Lodge. If you're looking for a place to watch, a little football game going on today, make the Stadium Lodge your home. And if you're not here, you better get here soon as folks starting to file in, as full-service menu specials going on, as Danny and the staff will certainly take care of you up here at the Stadium Lodge. Well, I know the boss man certainly was intrigued by the lineup that I had this morning, as Nick Hallberg, the voice of Minot High Hockey, saw the last five guests that I have, and he's like, boy, this is my kind of show. And I said, well, I'm going to tread through this because me not being the hockey guru he is, but nonetheless, we're going to dive into our West Region hockey preview maybe a little too late as they've reached the halfway point. But joining me right now is the head coach of the Mandan Braves, Leif Mattson. Leif, good morning. How are you, sir?
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me.
Well, you got it, Leif, and I guess, it's already, we just turned the calendar into 2022, and you guys are already at the halfway point of the hockey season, so this thing is flying by because it just seems like you guys just got this thing started less than a month ago.
You're right. Yeah, time flies when you're having fun, that's for sure.
Yeah, and Leif, let's talk about, let's go back to, when you guys started, the practice. I know like I said, we're at the halfway point, and, November 23rd was your first hockey game, and you started out with a victory. But, leading up into the start of this season, what did you guys feel as a coaching staff about what kind of hockey team you expected to have this year?
Sure. So last year, we had about 8-9 seniors, graduating and just having to build off of last year and so going into this season, we're a pretty young team. We have 3 seniors on the team that are getting some ice time, and if you look at our lineup, we are made up of some sophomores and juniors. So, hate to say that term rebuilding year, but we are a very quick team. The young guys are filling some big roles. They're adjusting nicely, to the level of play, and it's just fun to watch. It's fun to coach. It's just be a privilege to be a part of this team.
Well, yeah, and you certainly, the thing about it, Leif, is rebuilding years. Well, let's face it. Sometimes you have to have those. I know last year, probably not a season that you want to remember. 4-15 and 3-13 in the West Region, but nonetheless, I think when you talk about it, it tells you, what the state of Mandan hockey is with this young team you have coming back.
Right. And it starts, all our success and all our talent's all organic. It starts at the youth level with the Mandan Hockey Club, and they put together a great program over a number of years. And we're just starting to see the success of their hard work, and we're just now in the driver's seat and hoping to continue what they started.
Well, and then, then you start this on the 23rd. You open up with Hazen-Beulah, big win there, and then it was a little tough stretch where you drop 3, and then, really you had 2 back-to-back, 2 big wins for you in the middle of December where, you're at Minot, and then you're at – and then you've got Century, and boy, talk about those 2 games. Minot High leading it right now. But talk about that Minot and Century game back in mid-December.
Sure. We started off the season, you could tell we were just a young team, just trying to find our way, trying to adjust to, the speed of play. Like I said, as a young team, we're going against guys that are probably 10, 20 pounds heavier than us, maybe just got a little step on it. And we need to adjust. We rolled into Minot, and, that was one game where we just started clicking. Things started working. We had a huge turnout by our goalie, Dom Kautzman. He made some great saves, and we scored first, and then they might have answered just shortly right after that. And, we ended up winning in a shootout. That's just one game, and we had some momentum. We carried that on to Bismarck Century, the next week or the next 2 days later on Thursday. And, the momentum just carried on. And it's just like I said, they're just starting to find their way, and we'll have ups, we'll have downs, just because of our roster and our age. We'll have a lot of highs and lows, and we keep reinforcing that with the team that let's just stay focused. One shift at a time. Let's do it, and we're playing for February. Our goal is to play for February. On that last day on Saturday in Fargo. So we'll keep at it.
Well, yeah, and I think too, you look at the overall landscape of hockey in North Dakota, and it's no secret. The power, is right now is out in the eastern half of the state, and then you come off that Century win, and then a tough one to Dickinson, and then you go out and you play 2 pretty good hockey teams in Cheyenne and West Fargo. So you got kind of a little pattern going here. You win 1, you lose 3, you win a couple, one was a shootout, the Minot one, and then you lose 3, and now you stack 2 back together. But I think it's fair to say, Leif, that with a team like that, as you said, it's a learning process with these young guys. Some of these guys getting their first experience at the varsity level, on the frozen pond.
Right. And you're right. Our conference with the WDA, it's just take an 8-sided dice per se and just roll it. If there is that, an 8 seed can upseed a 1, a 9 seed can do the same. It's you can't take a night off. It's a different season. This year to years past. I think in the end, it's going to make us better, as a conference, each team just have more competitive play and giving kids chances, to play. Regarding the East, they're definitely fun to play. We had a great opportunity. We had an outdoor game with Cheyenne over right after the Christmas break, where I believe it was -15 and felt like 30. The boys played really well. That's a different style play. Just with the rink, the ice conditions, we were the 3rd game of the night, and they were just dry shaving the ice. They weren't putting any water down, so it wasn't ideal ice conditions, but it was a great experience, for the kids. I think my toes finally warmed up here about last night, but it was fun, and then we went inside and played Cheyenne, and they play a different style. And again, that was going back. We talked about that learning process, and we put up 33 shots against. West Fargo. I was pretty impressed of, the shots that we had, and I think West Fargo put up about 40. It's just I looked at their roster, and they had 2 sophomores, and one's a backup goalie and one's a 3rd-line center, and it goes back to that young team aspect. But I'm proud. Our future is bright. I really is. We have to keep our nose to the grindstone, and and keep working hard, and I think we're gonna have a lot of success.
Well, yeah, it certainly looks that way, as based as you talked about with the youth you have on your roster and where you're at now, and protecting your home ice. You did it last night against Williston in a big win, and today, you got to go back to back, and how do the kids, and you probably got to do a little bit more coaching today. You come off a big win against Williston, who, for all intents and purposes, was a team that was probably favored to win this WDA this year with what they had coming back. And, how do you keep these kids on an even keel knowing you got Botno Rugby, coming in this afternoon?
Right. We talked about that last night after the game. I was very impressed on how we had 3 lines, and each line, you know, contributed, got a goal. Our defense probably played their best game of all season. It was just a great team effort. Williston's just a great team. They got a couple kids, you know, one already signed with the Bobcats or tendered with the Bobcats. And, you know, we rose to that challenge and answered, you know, and when I talked to Coach Junt after the game, you know, I don't look forward to going up to Williston and playing on the Olympic sheet with them, because they can really stretch the ice, you know, with that. And after the game, you know, we talked about the highs and lows and trying to get ourselves reset, you know, because we got 3 more points on the line right now against, you know, today against Botno. You know, with the win last night, that put us in 4th place in the WDA, but we still got half our season left. I mean, we want to get last change in the WDA tournament, and, you know, that's a goal to wear white on Thursday and have that lower seed as we go into the tournament. But it, like we talked about earlier, an 8 seed can upset a 1, so we can't take any nights off, and we're just keep at it and do it again tonight.
Well, Leif, I can tell you this, is me being obviously the basketball guy that I am, and when you talk to a bunch of basketball coaches, and I think the same thing holds true, is that they don't put a whole lot of emphasis in December. Maybe the emphasis rises a little bit in January, but we don't get the panic level. But you really take a look at things in February, because it's fair to say, probably in hockey too, is that you want to be playing your best hockey the middle to the end of February. I mean, is that your MO as well?
Absolutely, and that's something we've addressed with the team. You know, that we want to keep building, getting some momentums. You know, we're gonna have ups, so keep going up, and let's go an upward pattern. We may take 3 steps forward and 1 step back, but we're still moving up. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, certainly kudos to what you're doing right now and the success you're having with this young hockey team, Leif, and appreciate your time this morning. Best of luck to you this afternoon against Botno Rugby and the rest of the way out, and hopefully we'll get a chance to chat with you again. So appreciate your time. Have a good rest of the day, and good luck this afternoon, all right?
Thank you so much, and thanks again for you and Nick Holberg and the PSP Network just promoting our athletes. Appreciate it so
absolutely.
much.
Appreciate it, Leif. Take care. Have a good rest of the day.
All right, thank you.
You bet. Leif Mattson, the head coach of the Mandan hockey team, as they get set to take on Botno Rugby this afternoon at 3:15 p.m. over in Mandan. We'll take another timeout. We come back. We'll talk with the new and first ever hockey coach of the Legacy Sabres, Mario LaMOUREAUX, when we come back with more on Overtime with Scott Woodmansee.
This broadcast presentation on the PSP Network is brought to you by BNC National Bank, Planning Team Financial, Sport Clips, Tires Plus, Bismarck LASIK, First Western Bank and Trust, Jobbers Moving and Storage, The Medicine Shop, Hub International Insurance, The Chuppy Clinic, and Prairie Rose Family Dentists.
The best part about working at BNC National Bank is developing relationships.
I love working with people.
We've been here for over 25 years.
We've grown just like our communities we're in.
But we still have that personal connection with our customers.
And that's why we can find the best solutions for them.
It feels great seeing projects around the community and knowing we're a small part of making that happen.
We're helping people buy their first homes.
Plan for the future.
From startups to big business.
We're part of the community.
And we're proud of it.
Yours truly, BNC.
If your eyes could talk, they'd tell you life is better with LASIK. No more reaching for your glasses. No more dry eye from overwearing your contact lenses. Right now, Bismarck LASIK is offering free consultations for LASIK procedures. Break free from the daily hassles and expenses of glasses and contacts. Life is clearly better. Book your free consultation today with Bismarck LASIK and see the difference. Call 222-2020 or schedule online at bismarcklasik.com.
Whether you're looking for a full-service financial plan or planning for farm or business succession, Planning Team Financial Advisors is here to help you work toward achieving your financial goals. With locations in Bismarck, Garrison, and Center, our full-service team of professionals are dedicated to helping you work towards achieving your financial goals. Visit us online, planningteam.com. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member of FINRA and SIPC. Investment advice offered through GWM Advisors, LLC, doing business as Goss Advisors, a registered investment advisor. GWM Advisors, LLC, and Planning Team Financial Advisors are separate entities from LPL Financial.
Memories never fade, especially from a high school rivalry game. Hi, I'm Brock Shook with First Western Bank and Trust. Throughout school sports history, the familiar names and faces may change, but legacies live on, achievements remembered.
As your community bank, First Western Bank and Trust celebrates your victories with you.
We want to wish all the local teams good luck in their athletic endeavors this season. Be safe on the court, field, rink, and in the gym. First Western Bank and Trust. You can bank on us. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You remember where this goes?
I don't know.
Are you sure it was a clicking and not a zzz, zzz?
I think your quash litter valve's stuck.
Do you even have insurance?
If we soak it, it should be good.
No matter how much you know or don't know about your vehicle, trust the experts at Tires Plus. Real answers from real mechanics.
Inspections are free to ensure your vehicle is always in peak condition.
Thinking service? Think Tires Plus.
The North Dakota Safety Council is dedicated to preventing
to the
injuries
stadium and overtime with Scott Woodmansee.
Welcome back to the Stadium Lodge. Scott Woodmansee with you on the PSP Network. Glad to have you aboard. Overtime with Scott Woodmansee as we roll into our 11 o'clock hour as the FCS National Championship game is underway. As Montana State will start with the football. But, hey, if you're looking for a place to watch it, make the Stadium Lodge your home this afternoon. Full-service menu. Drink specials going on as Danny and the staff will certainly take care of you up here today. While we roll into the 11 o'clock hour, we continue on our West Region hockey preview. And joining me right now is the new and first ever head coach of the Legacy Sabres, Mario LAMOUREAUX. Mario, good morning. Thanks for joining me this morning.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, you betcha. And Mario, I guess let's go back, man, when this whole thing was going down and the Legacy Sabres were looking to add a hockey team. The decision was made to add one, and where was Mario LAMOUREAUX, and what brought Mario LAMOUREAUX to the capital city?
Well, when they announced that they were going to have a program, I was still over in Europe playing, and so I kind of thought about it, had some people reach out and encouraged me to maybe think about taking over the program. And I played pro for 10 years at that point, and just felt like this was a good time for myself, my family. I got 2 young kids, and just wanted to have a kind of a stable place for them. It was a lot of fun traveling, moving around, but it takes its toll once you start having kids, and it was I think it was the appropriate move for just kind of the time I was at in my career and where my family's at. Kind of was excited to get back, settle down, and be part of the community full time.
Well, yeah, and I think you look at this too, Mario. Certainly, obviously, the playing days at some point, all good things must come to an end, and for you to decide that and make that decision, a great decision in your own right. But I guess more importantly, it's the fact of, when you and I asked Jason Horner this going back, when Legacy first opened up. I mean, having the opportunity to be the first ever head coach at a program, in the background that you have, I mean. What does that mean? I mean, where you can really put your stamp on this Legacy Sabres hockey program.
Yeah, I mean, it's really exciting. You're starting from scratch. I tell the group all the time, we decide what we're going to be as a group. And, at the end of the day, it comes down to the players. They're the ones that go out on the ice. You just try to establish, the proper habits to be a good hockey player. And, it's not like there's some secret recipe to being a good hockey player or a good hockey team. Can you consistently do the right things all the time? And I try to instill that in the players. And we just kind of build our identity. It doesn't happen overnight. Maybe it doesn't happen in, over 1 or 2 seasons. It takes time. And hopefully we can kind of establish a good mentality so that we can be successful for a lot of years to come.
Well, yeah, and I guess, when you got this, and obviously, with Legacy and, some kids from Bismarck High, those kids were playing at Bismarck High and things like that. And when you sat down, Mario, and you had that first meeting with these kids, what was the excitement level knowing that these kids that are attending Legacy are going to be able to represent their own school each and every night when they get on the ice against other West Region or East Region foes?
Yeah, I think most of the kids are really excited to finally play for their own school. They all play, baseball, football, and whatever other sports for Legacy High School, and hockey was the one sport they played for someone else. So I think they're excited to represent the school that they attend every day. And, I think for some of the players that have been part of other programs, maybe a little disappointing at first, but I think once you kind of get over that, like, they're excited to be part of something new. And, and they've got all pretty solid, important roles for our team this year. So, it gave more kids an opportunity to get more ice time, continue to play hockey, and I think it was good for the community. And, you can look up and down the West region. Every game is a dogfight. And, you could be in 7th place, and they could beat, the team that's in 1st or 2nd and vice versa. So I guess it really brings out the competitiveness in every game.
Well, and Mario, you wasted no time in building the coaching staff because you brought in a guy that's got a pretty good name here in the capital city.
Yeah, no, Ryan's been awesome. He's really knowledgeable. Obviously, he was the goaltender, and just, he sees things that I just don't even think to look at in terms of the goaltending. And just a real knowledgeable guy. And I know when I got the job, he had reached out and asked if I'd been looking. And obviously, with his background, it's obviously very fortunate for myself to have someone like him helping. And obviously for the kids, another guy that's been through it and put in the work to be a good hockey player, and we're really lucky to have him involved, with the hockey team and in the hockey community.
And the one thing, too, is we're talking with Mario LAMOUREAUX, the head coach of the Legacy Sabres hockey team, and, looking up and down your roster, boy, I tell you what, the future appears a little bit bright there. You got a really young hockey team, and right now, you're 3-4-2 in the conference, so you got to feel pretty pleased, as we sit here and talk today with where your hockey team is.
Yeah, we are a young group, but, a lot of times I don't look at age that much. What can you provide on a daily basis, and just try and increase that expectation level when we show up to the rink. And, I think some people get caught up in being old or being young. You're still a hockey player, and you show up and you got to play your best. So, obviously there's growing pains when, I think over half our team has never played a varsity game in the past. So definitely some growing pains, but, our expectations are going to remain high. And, we go into every game and have the expectation that we're going to win. And, it'll always remain that way.
Yeah, as we got a few minutes left with Mario LAMOUREAUX. Mario, and maybe you already answered this, but I guess, from a coach's standpoint, what is your style of hockey, or is that going to be dictated on the type of kids? Are you guys playing physical? You want to be fast? What kind of style does Coach LAMOUREAUX like to play?
Interesting question. Everyone says, we want to play fast, we want to play physical, those things you just mentioned. I want players that play hockey the right way, I would like to consider higher percentage hockey. You don't come down and try and dangle people one-on-one. On occasion it works out and it looks great and everyone goes, ooh, ah. But, it's low percentage hockey, and I want guys that kind of understand the game and say, hey, I'm in a situation that, do something that's not going to be flashy, but this is going to help us have sustainable pressure and be able to play a more sustainable game throughout a season. We're giving ourselves a chance to create more offense and keep plays alive. And that's kind of what you got to show those players those examples, because some of them it's brand new and concepts they've never really had to think about before. But, we're growing and getting better every single day. So I'm really happy with our group so far.
Well, and that's the important part, too. And, when you look up and down your schedule, a rough start to the season, you kind of got things turned around a little bit. But, when you look at the West Region hockey and obviously Century, a team that, having some struggles this year. But, really, I guess I don't know if you call it a signature win or what, but, you get them 2-1 in overtime, back before the holiday break, and then you come back and get another one. So certainly you had to feel pretty proud of that victory over Century and how your kids battled.
Yeah, it's exciting. You got the inner city games, and there feels like there's maybe a little tension in the building, and I think it's great. It brings out the competitiveness and in the kids, and when you feel like there's a little more on the line, you give that little bit extra, and I think that's perfect for the kids to, you're being that ultra competitive more often during the season. And those inner city games are fun. It's competitive, nervous, and people are a little more energy in the building. So it's exciting games to be part of, and really happy. Obviously, when you get the result you want, it feels pretty good. but more about trying to play good hockey on a consistent basis.
Well, today you got a team coming in, the Wilson Coyotes, a team that was favored, probably by, I know talking with Nick Hallberg, he had them picked to win the West Region, but you get your first crack at the Wilson Coyotes, and what are your thoughts? So what's the game plan going into this afternoon? Maybe you don't want to say it over the airways. I understand that, but, a pretty good team in their own right, just on a little downslide right now.
Yeah, I mean, they, I don't think it's any secret. They got a couple players that are really talented, really good hockey players. And other teams in the state got some guys you got to key on. Anytime you play someone, you got guys you got to be aware of when they're on the ice, and Wilson certainly has those. And they got some other real solid players. So, I was asked a question a little bit like, how do you prepare for the other teams? We're at a point in our season where we just need to identify how the way we need to play as a group. I don't want to adjust how we're going to play against someone else when I don't think, we're quite at the level of playing exactly how we want to play. And it's really about establishing kind of that sense of urgency and understanding how we can work as a group when we're on the ice together. You're really just trying to establish that in the first, half of the season, and we're just beyond that for us. So, that's kind of our thought is play the way we can play on a consistent basis, and hopefully we'll have a chance to win at the end of the game.
Well, absolutely, and certainly today, 3:15, the puck drops at the VFW Wilson, and congratulations, Mario, on getting this job. And I know a few guys in the hockey community that let's just say that they consider it was a good get. But keep up the great work. Thanks for your time, and good luck this afternoon. All right.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, you got it. Mario LAMOUREAUX, the head coach of the Legacy Sabres hockey team, as they get set to take on the Wilson Coyotes here this afternoon at the VFW All Seasons Arena. We'll take a timeout, and when we come back, we'll continue. We'll talk with the head coach of the Bismarck Demons, Wes Carr, back with more after this timeout.
This broadcast presentation on the PSP Network is brought to you by BNC National Bank, Planning Team Financial, Sport Clips, Tires Plus, Bismarck LASIK, First Western Bank and Trust, Jobbers Moving and Storage, The Medicine Shop, Hub International Insurance, The Chuppy Clinic, and Prairie Rose Family Dentists.
The best part about working at BNC National Bank is developing relationships.
I love working with people.
We've been here for over 25 years.
We've grown just like our communities we're in.
But we still have that personal connection with our customers.
And that's why we can find the best solutions for them.
It feels great seeing projects around the community and knowing we're a small part of making that happen.
We're helping people buy their first homes.
Plan for the future.
From startups to big business.
We're part of the community.
And we're proud of it.
Yours truly, BNC.
If your eyes could talk, they'd tell you life is better with LASIK. No more reaching for your glasses. No more dry eye from overwearing your contact lenses. Right now, Bismarck LASIK is offering free consultations for LASIK procedures. Break free from the daily hassles and expenses of glasses and contacts. Life is clearly better. Book your free consultation today with Bismarck LASIK and see the difference. Call 222-2020 or schedule online at bismarcklasik.com.
Whether you're looking for a full-service financial plan or planning for farm or business succession, Planning Team Financial Advisors is here to help you work toward achieving your financial goals. With locations in Bismarck, Garrison, and Center, our full-service team of professionals are dedicated to helping you work towards achieving your financial goals. Visit us online, planningteam.com. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member of FINRA and SIPC. Investment advice offered through GWM Advisors, LLC, doing business as Goss Advisors, a registered investment advisor. GWM Advisors, LLC, and Planning Team Financial Advisors are separate entities from LPL Financial.
Memories never fade, especially from a high school rivalry game. Hi, I'm Brock Shook with First Western Bank and Trust. Throughout school sports history, the familiar names and faces may change, but legacies live on, achievements remembered.
As your community bank, First Western Bank and Trust celebrates your victories with you.
We want to wish all the local teams good luck in their athletic endeavors this season. Be safe on the court, field, rink, and in the gym. First Western Bank and Trust. You can bank on us. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You remember where this goes?
I don't know.
Are you sure it was a clicking and not a zzz, zzz?
I think your quash litter valve's stuck.
Do you even have insurance?
If we soak it, it should be good.
No matter how much you know or don't know about your vehicle, trust the experts at Tires Plus. Real answers from real mechanics.
Inspections are free to ensure your vehicle is always in peak condition.
Thinking service? Think Tires Plus.
The North Dakota Safety Council is dedicated to preventing injuries and saving lives by offering hundreds of safety courses. The NDSC helps workers return home safely every night and make sure schools are ready for any emergency. Our first aid training and defensive driving courses help save lives. We empower people through personal protection courses and operational risk assessments for businesses. We're a private, nonprofit organization committed to making North Dakota's homes, schools, communities, workplaces, and roads the safest in the nation. Learn more at ndsc.org.
At Shots Crossroads, we make 8 gallons of homemade ranch dressing every day, so you can smother your dinner salad with it, dip those crispy golden French fries in it, and dunk your breaded chicken strips. You can even cover your... Wait, no. You can't put ranch on steak. Or can you? Shots Crossroads. Don't forget the ranch.
Let's go back to the stadium and overtime with Scott Woodmansee.
Yeah, welcome back to the Stadium Lodge. Scott Woodmansee with you in overtime. Glad to have you aboard on the PSP Network as we roll through our 11 o'clock hour. Hey, if you're looking for a place to watch the game, Bison just scored. They lead at 7-0. Make the Stadium Lodge your home this afternoon. Full-service menu, drink specials. Northwest Bismarck, Danny, and the staff will certainly take care of you up here at the Stadium Lodge. Well, we continue our trek through the West Region Boys Hockey Preview, and joining me right now on the line, we have the head coach of the Bismarck Demons, Wes CARR. Wes, good morning, my friend. How are you this morning?
Good, Woody. How are you doing?
Hey, things are doing good. Well, Wes, I know today you guys have been off for a little bit as you get set for the big crosstown rivalry. But I guess before we talk about the present, let's go back to the past. And, you know, when you guys started this thing, and I guess, Wes, the one question I want to ask you is, you know, when you look at what's developed in the hockey landscape in the capital city with obviously the addition of that hockey team to the legacy, I mean, how much did that affect the Bismarck High program?
You know, I think it's affected us quite a bit. You know, obviously adding another school, team numbers will kind of, you know, obviously they'll be separated a little bit more. I think, you know, it's good for Bismarck to have another team. But yeah, it's just we're gonna have some building pains until we, you know, for a couple of years here to try to get through it. But hopefully we get on track and, you know, stay with our program and the history and tradition we've always had.
Yeah, certainly. Last year, 9-7, 1-1 during the season, 8-5, 1-2. Obviously, kind of an odd year, but you know, when you started this thing back in you know, middle of November, Wes, I mean, from you and your staff, I mean, what kind of hockey team did you guys expect to put on the ice this year?
Well, you know, I think we were pretty excited at the beginning of the year. We have a lot of returners. Obviously, last season we lost Jack Steckler and Nico Martinson, and Miles Stiefel, obviously, with the new addition of the legacy team. And those were they're pretty big name players for us that kind of hurt. But we got a majority of our core back, and we were pretty excited about it. Yeah, we started off the season. We played in Fargo, kind of got it handed to us a little bit, so we had to go back to the drawing board. That's always fun. But we went back to the drawing board, and the boys made a nice little run. And then as of late, we kind of ran into some struggles, ran into a tough one up in Minot, and then it kind of started. But at the same time, the flu bug has officially hit our team, and we're just starting to come out of it. So hopefully we can get the boys back on track here. So
yeah, and I think that flu bug is running rampant, you know, all over the state. But you know, you talked about, Wes, you know, that tough loss 8-0 to Fargo North, and you know, I mean, it's probably fair to say the power probably is in the East again this year. But then you guys come back and you run off 5 in a row, and one of those was a win over Legacy, and another one was a 3-2 win over Williston, and probably Williston as a team that, I guess if you look at teams in the West region, probably not sure what's going on because they were a favorite. I know, talking to Nick Hallberg, probably to win this thing, but certainly, but it's a game of runs. I mean, in the season can be runs. You have your ups, you have your downs, and right now you're in a down, but nobody better to turn things around with against Century on Tuesday.
Yeah, absolutely. And that game is the rivalry game, so it really doesn't matter the scores. It's always going to be a tight game, and both teams are really going to come out hard, and our boys want to win, and I know Troy's boys want to win, and but yeah, it's an interesting year this year. Williston was really picked as the number 1 seed, and Jamestown returned a lot of players too. But what's kind of just been crazy is how a lot of the games have been pretty tight, pretty close, and realistically, it's kind of like a giant log jam. I think there's the top 8 teams are all they could beat each other really, at any time, on any given night.
Well, yeah. I mean, when you look at, it's you can't say you're out of it. I mean, you're sitting at third at 5-2-0-1 right now, 16 points, and Jamestown's got 20, Minot's got 23. But all this does is this whole thing just sets up for one hell of a West Region hockey tournament.
Absolutely.
And Wes, when you look at your team, I mean, what's the strength of your team?
I think, our big goal as a coaching staff last year, obviously we didn't make the state tournament, and it was the first time in a very long time in Bismarck High, and we kind of made a vow that we wanted practice to be harder than the actual games. So when we get to the games, it's a lot easier, I guess, is the best way you could say it.
Interesting concept.
That's not always the case, But I think our biggest strength has just been the boys have been coming in and day out. They've been practicing, their tails off, and it's been a hard go. And they've kind of seen the challenge and stuff. And one of the things we always talk about during the games is instead of saying minutes, we say miles, and we kind of do a countdown in between periods. And so it's kind of battling that adversity, and I guess it's just the toughness has really kind of been helping us out quite a bit.
Yeah, and we're talking with Wes Carr, the head coach of the Bismarck Demons hockey team. And Wes, you look at this little slide you're on, and it was a 1-point loss to Minot. Then Grand Forks Central shut you out, and then it was a tough overtime loss to Dickinson. And I guess, Wes, as back on January 4th, you've been idle since then. I mean, what things did you guys as a staff had to get this team to do better, to hopefully snap that 3-game? I mean, what were the things you had to work on that you thought you didn't do very well in those 3 games? And maybe it was something different in each of those.
No, I think you kind of hit it right on the head. The big thing for us was the positioning. We spent a lot of time this week and last week kind of reviewing a lot of our positioning in the defensive zone. When we played up in Grand Forks, we made a couple of the same mistakes, having to be 4 really big mistakes, and we paid for it up there. And, the Minot game was a tough one. That's kind of when our flu bug hit, and so we were kind of low on that part of it and staying out of the box. But, we kind of had a relapse of it against Dickinson. But, Dickinson's a good team too. I got to give them credit. They've played Century tough. They played Minot tough. They played Legacy tough. I think even Williston. So, they're kind of a team that I feel like is a sleeper. But back to what we said, more the positioning side of it is what we've been really trying to hound home the last couple days. So.
Yeah, as certainly, you look at it. And Wes, the other thing, too, as I look at, that you got to feel pretty excited about. I look at your roster, and, I mean, you got a pretty young hockey team as well.
Yes. It's one of the kind of the exciting things this year is, they have had this success so far. We're really looking forward, to finishing out the season, and, we get a solid core coming back next year as well, which is kind of, makes any coach excited. But at the same time, like we keep trying to preach home to the boys, you can look on paper and that's all fine, but, it's what you actually do when it gets down to brass tacks on stuff. So
yeah, and as you guys get set to take on Century coming up on Tuesday, certainly, you look at the landscape right now, hockey in the standings, and it's fair to say that Century's on a little bit of a struggle bus right now. They've lost their last 4, but we all know that anytime you get Bismarck and Century, I don't care if it's on the hockey, on the rink, on the basketball floor, on the football field, on the wrestling mat, it's going to be a battle. So I mean, the mentality going into this one, you got to be laser sharp, even though this is a team that's lost their last 4 hockey games.
Oh, absolutely. I think Troy as well as anybody does, and Troy will have the boys ready to go. And those rivalry games, the records really never matter. It's all about who's going to work harder that night and who wants it a little bit more. Growing up in God's country up in Hazen, our big rivalry was Beulah. You never could put the records out there for that. It was always, who's going to man up more that night. So. Yeah, and I like how you slipped that in there, Wes. You're growing up in God's country. I like that. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, absolutely. Old Hazen Bison running the show for the Bismarck Demons. Well, Wes, hey man, as always, appreciate your time this morning. Best of luck to you the rest of the way out, and certainly we'll be following it for you. I know we're going to have a couple games coming up on the network, but keep up the good work, and best of luck to you and the guys the rest of the way out.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Woody. Really appreciate it.
Hey, you got it. Wes Carr, the head coach of the Bismarck Demons, as his team gets set to take on the Century Patriots coming up on Tuesday. That one will be, I believe, at the VFW. So certainly, again, a crosstown rivalry should be a lot of fun there with Century and Bismarck. Speaking of Century, we come back, we'll finish our West Region hockey preview. We'll talk with the head coach of the Century Patriots, Troy Olson. We come back with more on Overtime with Scott Woodmansee after this timeout.
This broadcast presentation on the PSP Network is brought to you by BNC National Bank, Planning Team Financial, Sport Clips, Tires Plus, Bismarck LASIK, First Western Bank and Trust, Jobbers Moving and Storage, The Medicine Shop, Hub International Insurance, The Chuppy Clinic, and Prairie Rose Family Dentists.
The best part about working at BNC National Bank is developing relationships.
I love working with people.
We've been here for over 25 years.
We've grown just like our communities we're in.
But we still have that personal connection with our customers.
And that's why we can find the best solutions for them.
It feels great seeing projects around the community and knowing we're a small part of making that happen.
We're helping people buy their first homes.
Plan for the future.
From startups to big business.
We're part of the community.
And we're proud of it.
Yours truly, BNC.
If your eyes could talk, they'd tell you life is better with LASIK. No more reaching for your glasses. No more dry eye from overwearing your contact lenses. Right now, Bismarck LASIK is offering free consultations for LASIK procedures. Break free from the daily hassles and expenses of glasses and contacts. Life is clearly better. Book your free consultation today with Bismarck LASIK and see the difference. Call 222-2020 or schedule online at bismarcklasik.com.
Whether you're looking for a full-service financial plan or planning for farm or business succession, Planning Team Financial Advisors is here to help you work toward achieving your financial goals. With locations in Bismarck, Garrison, and Center, our full-service team of professionals are dedicated to helping you work towards achieving your financial goals. Visit us online, planningteam.com. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member of FINRA and SIPC. Investment advice offered through GWM Advisors, LLC, doing business as Goss Advisors, a registered investment advisor. GWM Advisors, LLC, and Planning Team Financial Advisors are separate entities from LPL Financial.
Memories never fade, especially from a high school rivalry game. Hi, I'm Brock Shook with First Western Bank and Trust. Throughout school sports history, the familiar names and faces may change, but legacies live on, achievements remembered. As your community bank, First Western Bank and Trust celebrates your victories with you. We want to wish all the local teams good luck in their athletic endeavors this season. Be safe on the court, field, rink, and in the gym. First Western Bank and Trust. You can bank on us. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You remember where this goes?
I don't know.
Are you sure it was a clicking and not a zoo?
I think your quash litter valve's stuck.
Do you even have insurance?
If we soak it, it should be good.
No matter how much you know or don't know about your vehicle, trust the experts at Tires Plus. Real answers from real mechanics.
Inspections are free to ensure your vehicle is always in peak condition.
Thinking service? Think Tires Plus.
The North Dakota Safety Council is dedicated to preventing injuries and saving lives by offering hundreds of safety courses. The NDSC helps workers return home safely every night and make sure schools are ready for any emergency. Our first aid training and defensive driving courses help save lives. We empower people through personal protection courses and operational risk assessments for businesses. We're a private, nonprofit organization committed to making North Dakota's homes, schools, communities, workplaces, and roads the safest in the nation. Learn more at ndsc.org.
At Shots Crossroads, we make 8 gallons of homemade ranch dressing every day, so you can smother your dinner salad with it, dip those crispy golden French fries in it, and dunk your breaded chicken strips. You can even cover your... Wait, no. You can't put ranch on steak. Or can you? Shots Crossroads. Don't forget the ranch.
Let's go back to the stadium and overtime with Scott Woodmansee.
Welcome back to the Stadium Lodge. Glad to have you aboard on the PSP Network. Scott Woodmansee with you live from the Stadium Lodge as we roll through our West Region hockey preview. Bison on the move again. They lead 7-0. As if you're looking for a place to maybe catch the remaining part of the game or at halftime, make the Stadium Lodge your home. Full-service menu, drink specials. They have it for you here at the Stadium Lodge. And rounding out our final West Region hockey coach is the head coach of the Century Patriots, Troy Olson. Ole, good morning. How are you this morning, man?
I'm good, Woody. Morning.
Well, Ole, I guess first and foremost, last season in the books, 15-3-1 and overall 13-2-1. But I guess, Ole, it's fair to say that this year probably not the start that you wanted to this season, but nonetheless, it's a long season, and I haven't seen you in a long time, and I don't know how much hair was there, but I certainly hope you haven't pulled all of it out.
Yeah, it's definitely a different year this year. A lot of new faces in the room, which is, kind of fun to have some new guys in. And, with the addition of Legacy, we, lost a little bit of depth there. But, it's like you said, it's a long season, and we're not even halfway done with our games yet. So.
Well, and Ole, I guess that, I asked, just had a chance to talk with Wes Carr and asked him that same question. And I think you just answered the question is that, with the addition of Legacy, adding that to the hockey landscape in North Dakota, and you just answered. It certainly has affected your team. And, and how much has it affected your team, do you think?
It wasn't really direct for us, for our experience. Our biggest thing was graduation. We lost 8 of our 9 top scorers to graduation. And where we noticed it most, Woody, is just in our depth. We had a lot of kids that probably could have helped us varsity-wise this year, but they actually, weren't playing varsity for us last year. So biggest impact is just a numbers game and kind of looking ahead to the next couple years more than this year.
Yeah, and Ole, I get again. And I know you don't like to use the word in high school athletics, and you probably can use it more at the professional level. But is it fair to say, maybe Troy, that is this maybe a rebuilding year for Century Patriots hockey?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm not a big fan of that either, but the guys are learning, and the one thing about having a new crew like we do is that they're going to improve more than most teams would throughout the season. We're doing a lot of things now that we had to start over from square one. Some years you come in and you pick up with a veteran team and you kind of add some new stuff and try to do a little more than you would, but we're kind of back at square one this year. And, I think I like to like our chances toward the end of the season just as good as anyone's, especially with the parity we have this year.
Well, yeah, and I think, too, Ole, you go back and look at the schedule that you've played already, and, you go back to December 10th at Dickinson, you win that 3-2, and then it's at Mandan, you lose 4-3, then Jamestown, a team that had a lot of kids back, you lose that 3-2 in overtime. You play Legacy, you lose that 2-1 in overtime, and then 6-3. I mean, so it's almost like Ole, this team is just knocking on the door, waiting for that door to break down.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Woody. I just you love to be in the games. We've been in a lot of competitive games. Our shot total probably isn't where I would like to see it, but at the same token, we're not getting blown out either. So that needs to be encouraging for our guys. Biggest thing right now is we just don't want to get too used to it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and yeah, I mean, it's you lose your first 3, you win 1, and then I mean it's a slide right now. I mean you've lost your last 5, but the saying goes. I mean you come out and you got a crosstown rivalry coming up on Tuesday, and there's no better way to end that losing streak than with a win over Bismarck High.
That would be some good medicine for us right now. I tell you, they're having a nice season. They were kind of picked in the middle, and they play the game hard, and they got some guys who could skate, and they're shooting the puck well, and it's going to be a fun game for us, and we're kind of on opposite ends of the spectrum right now.
And Ole, I guess the other thing is when you're in a funk like this, let's call it, and from a coaching standpoint, are you seeing improvement in each and every game from these kids in this younger team?
Yeah, we're just looking, and it's really, like I said, it's fun to see these young guys getting better. We have a lot of first-year players who are just figuring out what it takes to be successful in this league, and it's kind of fun to watch them progress to that level, and getting over the hump now is just the next thing, on our list. We need to check that off.
Well, yeah, I mean, and certainly, I mean, it's a rough start to the season, but I like anybody other coach says, Ole, whether you talk to Darren Mattern, you talk to Jordan Wilhelm, you talk to Jeff Schumacher on the wrestling side, you talk to Mark Gibson or whoever it is, and I mean, maybe football's a little different, but any coach is going to tell you that now, do you want to lose 5 in a row? No, nobody does, but really, you want to hopefully be playing your best hockey, when you get into February and you get closer and closer to that West Region tournament and that state tournament, because anything can happen, as we know, in those West Region tournaments.
Absolutely, Woody, and that's what we preach to the guys, is really it doesn't matter right now if we're 1-9 or 9-1. What matters is that we play our best hockey in February, and, that's kind of how, like you said, a lot of coaches design their seasons like that, and we do the same. We're just right now, we're not really, to be honest, not really concerned about wins and losses. Obviously the standings, it'd be nice to not play in, be in the play-in game, but right now it's not a make or break deal whether you win or lose. We just need to get better every day and practicing games and just keep moving on.
Yeah, and we got a few minutes left with Troy Olson, the head hockey coach at Century, and Ole, you touched on it earlier, but when you look at this overall landscape of the West Region and the hockey side of things, and you're obviously, you guys are in uncharted territory right now. I mean, as far as the standings are concerned, but I mean, is this probably one of the more balanced West Region that you've seen in a long time? Is the number of years that you've been at Century, as far as the overall balance of the league, and night in and night out, anybody can eat anybody, whether it's at home or away?
Yeah, Woody, I think it is. I've been doing this since 1992 in town, starting at Bismarck High for a couple years and then moving to Century. And I got to tell you, this is one of the most fun years I've had. It just reminds me of a good WDA basketball season, and every year we always say, oh, it's going to be close. You know, the conference will be tight. But this year we're definitely living it. I mean, you look at the number of overtime games and the shootout games, and it's so fun coming to the rink and really not knowing what's going to happen. You know, just want to play well, and you know you have a chance every night, and so that's a lot of fun.
Well, yeah, and I think you're throwing some teams into the mix, Ole, that, you know, I mean, you're throwing Dickinson in the mix. I mean, they played some good games at this point. You're throwing, you know, Mandan, a big win last night over Williston. And so overall, I mean, this is, I mean, you know, January and February are going to be interesting to see how this thing shakes out because, it's nip and tuck right now. And by no means is anybody out of this thing.
No, it's crazy right now. And I think, you know, as the season goes on, there'll be a couple teams that emerge. But, you know, there's a reason why the WDA basketball tournament is one of the funnest tournaments we have in the state. And I think the hockey tournament is going to be just as fun this year.
Yeah, it certainly will be. And Ole, I mean, before we let you go, I guess, in your mind, I mean, what's the one big thing that you think you and your staff has to do to get this thing turned around with these guys?
Well, the biggest thing is, you know, we got to find a way to score a few more goals. But, you know, we just, like you said, we're in games, and I know there's a big difference between winning and losing a one-goal game. But, you know, I think we just need something to go right for us. You know, we just need to believe and need to finish out a game and, you know, maybe get a couple in the win column, and I think we can start rolling from there.
Well, hopefully that thing starts on Tuesday for you in that crosstown rivalry against Bismarck High. I'm sure, obviously, that's going to be packed. You better get there early. It always is. I don't care what your record is. And anytime they get together on the ice, it's always fun. But certainly it'd be a good time to get it turned around. Ole, hey, man, appreciate the time as always, my friend. Have a good rest Saturday. Enjoy the football game, and we'll talk to you again soon, all right?
All right. Thanks, buddy. Good talking to you, man.
All right. You too, buddy. Take care. Troy Olson, the head hockey coach at Century, his team in a funk overall in the conference, 1-2-0-2. They're just sitting there with 5 points. They've lost their last 4, so they're trying to get things turned around, and they hope to do so coming up this Tuesday as they take on the Bismarck Demons. We'll take another timeout, and we come back. We'll talk with the head coach of the Bismarck Bobcats, Lane SEDEVIE, back with more Overtime with Scott Woodmansee after this timeout.
This broadcast presentation on the PSP Network is brought to you by BNC National Bank, Planning Team Financial, Sport Clips, Tires Plus, Bismarck LASIK, First Western Bank and Trust, Jobbers Moving and Storage, The Medicine Shop, Hub International Insurance, The Chuppy Clinic, and Prairie Rose Family Dentists.
The best part about working at BNC National Bank is developing relationships.
I love working with people.
We've been here for over 25 years.
We've grown just like our communities we're in.
But we still have that personal connection with our customers.
And that's why we can find the best solutions for them.
It feels great seeing projects around the community and knowing we're a small part of making that happen.
We're helping people buy their first homes.
Plan for the future.
From startups to big business.
We're part of the community.
And we're proud of it.
Yours truly, BNC.
If your eyes could talk, they'd tell you life is better with LASIK. No more reaching for your glasses. No more dry eye from overwearing your contact lenses. Right now, Bismarck LASIK is offering free consultations for LASIK procedures. Break free from the daily hassles and expenses of glasses and contacts. Life is clearly better. Book your free consultation today with Bismarck LASIK and see the difference. Call 222-2020 or schedule online at bismarcklasik.com.
Whether you're looking for a full-service financial plan or planning for farm or business succession, Planning Team Financial Advisors is here to help you work toward achieving your financial goals. With locations in Bismarck, Garrison, and Center, our full-service team of professionals are dedicated to helping you work towards achieving your financial goals. Visit us online, planningteam.com. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member of FINRA and SIPC. Investment advice offered through GWM Advisors, LLC, doing business as Goss Advisors, a registered investment advisor. GWM Advisors, LLC, and Planning Team Financial Advisors are separate entities from LPL Financial.
Memories never fade, especially from a high school rivalry game. Hi, I'm Brock Shook with First Western Bank and Trust. Throughout school sports history, the familiar names and faces may change, but legacies live on, achievements remembered. As your community bank, First Western Bank and Trust celebrates your victories with you. We want to wish all the local teams good luck in their athletic endeavors this season. Be safe on the court, field, rink, and in the gym. First Western Bank and Trust. You can bank on us. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You remember where this goes?
I don't know.
Are you sure it was a clicking and not a zoom, zoom?
I think your quash litter valve's stuck.
Do you even have insurance?
If we soak it, it should be good.
No matter how much you know or don't know about your vehicle, trust the experts at Tires Plus. Real answers from real mechanics.
Inspections are free to ensure your vehicle is always in peak condition.
Thinking service? Think Tires Plus.
The North Dakota Safety Council is dedicated to preventing injuries and saving lives by offering hundreds of safety courses. The NDSC helps workers return home safely every night and make sure schools are ready for any emergency. Our first aid training and defensive driving courses help save lives. We empower people through personal protection courses and operational risk assessments for businesses. We're a private, nonprofit organization committed to making North Dakota's homes, schools, communities, workplaces, and roads the safest in the nation. Learn more at ndsc.org.
Let's go back to the stadium and overtime with Scott Woodmansee.
Welcome back to the Stadium Lodge. Scott Woodmansee with you. Glad to have you aboard on the PSP Network Overtime with Scott Woodmansee. Hey, if you're looking for a place to, well, come catch the remaining part of this FCS National Championship game, Bison lead at 14-0. Make the Stadium Lodge your home here this afternoon. Full-service menu, drink specials going on, and lots of football, NFL going on today. Make the Stadium Lodge your home. Well, we continue our chat on the Frozen Pond, but this time we go to the NAHL. And joining me on the line is the head coach of the Bismarck Bobcats, Lane SEDEVIE. Laner, good morning, my friend. How are you this morning?
Good morning, Woody. How are you? Doing well.
Well, things are good, Lane, and I guess things are pretty good for you. After last night down in St. Cloud. I'm
guessing that's the Bison in the background.
Well, I'm guessing you can probably tell what happened there, as the Bison just took one to the house, and now they've tacked on 6 more as a 76-yard touchdown run, and now it's 20-0. So, Laner, I don't know if you're watching or not, but the Bison are starting to pull away.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I mean, I can tell just by what's going on in the background, but they went on a heck of a run, and now they're obviously trying to get back to the top again, so pretty cool.
Yeah, and Lane, I talked before we heard all that background, but, a big win last night for you against St. Cloud.
Yeah, I tell you what, Woody, I mean, we're scratching, we're clawing, trying to do whatever we can here. And you know what, we're playing better, too. I mean, in the last 10 games, I think we're 5-4-1. With a young group, we started out 0-10, and that's tough. So we're digging ourselves out of a hole, and obviously we're starting to play better hockey. So, I think when you look at the standings and you look at everything, you want to give yourself a chance. You're not out of it until you are. Yep. And if we can string together, maybe a 5 win streak, a 7 win streak. I mean, the kicker is when you look at sports, and you know this very well, but in our conference, it's all head-to-head, so the points can fluctuate big time. So that's a huge key when you look at where we're sitting versus where we could go. As to if you're playing out of conference and those points don't keep, they're not so close in between teams.
Yeah, and we just talked to Troy Olson, head coach, obviously a Century head coach, and he's on the struggle bus as well. And Lane, I mean, when you said that, the way your team started, I mean, and it's probably fair to say, Lane, I mean, that's tough because this league's too good to be able to do that. I mean, you can, you got to do what you got to do, but I mean, to go start out 0-10 and try to get yourself back to the top, it's hard to do. Is that fair to say in this league?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's extremely tough. I mean, I think you look at, I think you can look at the Blues. I think they're in last place at Christmas time in the National Hockey League when they won the Stanley Cup a couple years ago. but it's rare, and I think it's, you try and give your guys motivation, Woody, and to me, it's, where you started. We lost 19 guys last year. I think 18 went to Division I, set new records that way. So it's a new group, and to me, I think you want to see progress. You want to see guys getting better, and that's, I think our product from where we started to where we are now is way better than what we started with. So that's a plus, because when you look at it, I mean, out of 24 guys, you flip the page, we can return 20 next year. So it's kind of how junior hockey goes, but you got to do with what you got.
Lane, and I asked a couple of the high school hockey coaches this, and I said, in particularly Wes Carr and Troy Olson, obviously with the addition of Legacy being added in, and I don't know if you would like to use it at a high school level. Maybe you don't like to use it, at this level. But is this maybe a rebuilding year for the Bobcats?
Well, I mean, I think when you look at it, I think that word is probably frowned upon, Woody.
Yeah, I know it is, Lane. I know it's frowned upon.
Right, but I just think to me is two words: it's being realistic and having patience.
Yeah.
That's where, and it's hard. It's hard in sports, and you've been around it your whole life. It's, everybody wants to run before they walk, and everybody wants to win everything every year. I mean, you're sitting around people right now that expect them to win a national championship every year, and guess what? It's not possible. It's not going to happen every year. They've been spoiled, Woody, and it's awesome. It's great, and people need to appreciate that.
Yeah, no, and I think Lane, when you talk about that, and with your hockey team too, is that I think the key word there is patience, and it's hard for kids, I'm sure, at that level to have that patience, and particularly as a head coach, knowing you, patience is not a virtue. But at some point, you've got to be able to separate that and know, hey, all right, guys, we just got to keep going day in and day out and grind and do what we can to get ourselves back in position and give ourselves a chance at something when it comes in the postseason.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, and the nice part is, you have different feels with different teams. What do teams you're around? Sometimes you have really good teams, and sometimes it's maybe they don't like to work and they're just super talented, and every team is different. I will say the one thing about this team is guys enjoy coming to the rink. They want to get better. So that part of it, when you're 0-10, I'll tell you what, not a lot of hair left, but I think we're trying to pull every last bit out when you're 0-10. But when the guys want to come to the rink and they want to get better, that to me that's what matters. And to me, that's why we're seeing results too now.
Lane, with this young team and the number of guys you lost, I mean, who's the leader or leaders of this hockey team? And have you been able to pinpoint those guys?
Yeah, I mean, you look at probably with as many guys as we lost, Jonathan Ziske on the back end is probably our you look at games played, he's arguably one of the best defensemen in the league, and then you break it down, he didn't make it out of exhibition and broke his wrist. So when you have four returners and one of that magnitude that didn't play almost 2.5, 3 months, that's tough too. So you factor in injuries, but Jonathan Ziske on the back end, Patrick Johnson, he played for us last year. I think he didn't play many games. Those are kind of they wear our C's. They're our leaders. Quinn Rudrud, Nico Shimoveski, that's our captain group. But guys like Jake McLean, who we got from Canada, who leads our team in scoring, has been a big time surprise for us. Done a fantastic job. And really, Woody, I mean, so you look at it, and we played 7D last night, and when you go by birth years, we had one guy on the back end for us, and that's Jonathan Ziske, who's going to Niagara next year. All the other ones are 03 birth years, and that's young. They still have 2.5 years of eligibility left in junior hockey. So some of our young guys are starting to really, starting to figure it out, starting to step up, even up front. I mean, Drew Holt, I think, is 3rd or 4th on our team in scoring, 17 points. He's a rookie. Some of those guys they're starting. Every kid is different. And to sit there and say, well, this kid's going to be good by game 6, this kid's going to be good by game 20, you just can't do it. And I think it's just maturing as a young man, understanding what the grind's like in junior hockey, and being able to actually slow the game down, because the pace is so much different from high school or AAA hockey.
Well, yeah, and I think as you just touch on that, I mean, it's no different. It's figuring out the league. I mean, is that a good way to use that, Lane?
100%, because it's hard, and everybody works, and everybody's good.
Yeah, and I think when you've got the number of guys that are trying to, I mean, everybody's trying to do what everybody else is trying to do, and that's get to that next level, or play at Niagara, or play at University of North Dakota, or whatever that may be. And when you bring that in together, I mean, boy, I tell you what, and I think the other thing you touched on was just the overall grind of this schedule as a young kid that's coming out of high school hockey or wherever that may be. I mean, that's a whole different animal.
Yeah, I mean, it is. And I think that's really why when you look at junior hockey, there are some kids who have, we've had some rookies put up 40, 50 points. It doesn't happen very often, but I think that's really why in junior hockey you see kids go from 15 points their first year, 20 points their first year, to 45 to 50 their second year, because they understand how hard it is. They understand the body of work that has to go in to have success at this level. So it definitely is. I mean, it's, I think that's why you see veteran guys and veteran teams, for that matter, probably have more success than younger teams. Now, some years you're just forced with the cards you're dealt and losing a lot. So, but yeah, I mean, I think it is. It's definitely, some rookies they pop earlier than others.
Yep. Yeah, no, that's certainly fair to say. Well, Laner, hey, man, I appreciate the time as always. We'll do it again soon. Best of luck to you tonight, and Happy New Year to you. And we'll talk again soon, all right?
All right, same to you, Woody. Thank you.
You got it, buddy. Take care. Lane Sedevie, the head coach of the Bismarck Bobcats. They are back in action tonight down in St. Cloud as they try to get another victory under the belt as they take on the Norsemen. Last night they won 5-3. Well, that's going to do it for our first edition of 2022 on Overtime with Scott Woodmansee. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to thank all of our sponsors. Also, a big thanks goes out to all of my guests this morning. John Gums, Brian NIEUWSMA, LEIF MATTSON, Mario LAMOUREAUX, Wes CARR, Troy Olson, and Lane Sedevie. Reminder, hockey and basketball coming up today on the PSP Network. You can catch all of that live action. Be sure to follow all of our social media platforms, Facebook and Twitter, to find out all of everything that's coming up on the PSP Network. Until next time, Scott Woodmansee saying so long from the Stadium Lodge.
This has been a presentation of the PSP Network. We thank you for listening to Overtime with Scott Woodmansee, live from the stadium. Make sure to head to the social media platforms for the PSP Network to like and follow, to stay up to date with all things sports in Western North Dakota. PSP Network, it's game day.